Good morning, I'm Carl. Welcome to Coffee with the Garden Club. Today we are continuing our discussions about seeds and plants that you can get from the grocery store that you'll be able to plant in your garden this spring. 2021 is a challenging year for finding seeds, and so I've decided that I'm going to commit the first few episodes of this new Coffee with the Garden Club series to finding seeds from the grocery store or other places, so that you don't need to rely on seed companies this year for your seeds. So this is a lousy store-bought tomato. It's probably a hybrid. It is not good for seed saving. You can save the seeds from it, but what you will probably get from this when you plant the seeds will be cherry tomatoes. The cool thing about tomatoes is that if they are heirloom varieties, they are often true to type. And this is because tomatoes, while they will cross-pollinate, they often self-pollinate because they're kind of the flower itself is a little more enclosed than other flowers. Now, when bees come to pollinate a tomato flower, you think they're bringing pollen from another plant, but what they're actually doing is they're collecting pollen, but they're shaking the flower. In shaking the flower, the pollen actually self-pollinates the flower many times, in many cases. Now, of course, pollen can get in there from other tomato plants, but quite often you will get true to seed tomatoes, especially if you plant your tomatoes a little further apart or plant only one type in a certain area. So that's why when you are growing from an heirloom tomato that isn't a hybrid, you will find that you will very often get something very similar to the original tomato that you had started with. But of course, there's that chance that it is cross-pollinated with another tomato, and you might get something really interesting from that too. So what you want to do, go to the supermarket, I would suggest as many different heirloom variety tomatoes as you can find. And definitely select some cherry tomatoes too, because cherry tomatoes are great. They come up early in the season, they start producing. So once you have your variety, your wide variety of tomatoes, what you want to do is take each one home and slice it in half, usually probably crosswise, not up and down. So if you slice it crosswise, usually you'll be able to scoop out the seeds from that. Now, don't try and clean the seeds immediately. Instead, put them in a small glass bowl, cover it with something, and a small plate or a little bit of plastic wrap, and set it aside for a couple of days. What will happen during those couple of days is that the little kind of bubbles that are around each one of the seeds in the tomato. I should know the technical term for that, shouldn't I? Anyway, little bubbles that are around the seeds in the tomato, those will dissolve, and I'm not sure if it's enzymes. In any case, the seed coat starts to be broken down just a little bit. Now, once those 2 days are over, you can clean your seeds, run some water over them through a very fine sieve, and get them nice and clean. Put them on a paper towel and let them dry that way. And then you can put them into an envelope and save them for a couple of months before you want to start them. I will often start my tomato plants in January or February. So if you want to do that, I would suggest you get these seeds nice and dry, and then you are going to want to do a germination test. So what you'll want to do is take several of the seeds from each of the tomatoes, and you will put them on a very, very slightly damp paper towel in a plastic bag and let them sit for a week or so and just observe in a kind of a dark, warm spot, and just observe to see if they germinate. And if they don't germinate, then you may need to either let the seeds sit for a little longer, a couple more weeks and try again, or you might just have to rely on the ones that do, and some of them will. So that's a way to know whether you're wasting your time with the seeds or not. And then you plant them indoors to get them started. If you're in a cooler climate like I am, you can, if you're in a warmer climate, you could plant them directly into the soil outdoors. And you will get an interesting collection of tomatoes. Like I say, there's no guarantee that you will get what you expect. However, you will have tomatoes this season. And if you do this with several different types of store-bought heirloom tomatoes, chances are you'll find a winner in there, and you might want to save the seeds again for next season. So I would say if you're doing this method, make sure you plant a bunch of different types and are ready for a little bit of an adventure. But overall, this should help to get you through 2021 with tomato plants, and hopefully you will be able to have a great collection of really interesting fruits by sometime in late summer. So I will be continuing this series, and we'll be telling you more types of fruits and vegetables that you can get from the grocery store and propagate or save seeds from, so that you will be able to have a nice big garden this summer, even without having to order from seed companies. Good luck with that, and thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great day.